Welcome to the WTR Small Cap Spotlight podcast. I'm your host, Tim Gerdeman, Vice Chair and Co-founder and Chief Marketing Officer of Water Tower Research. Today I'm joined by Al Petrie, founder and senior partner at Petrie Advisors, to discuss the upcoming Louisiana Energy Conference. I'm also joined by my Water Tower Research colleagues from our natural resource team, Richard Tullis and Jeff Robertson. Thanks for joining me this morning, gentlemen.
Thanks, Tim.
Richard, I'll turn the podcast over to you to start the questions off for Al.
Thank you, Tim, and welcome, Al. So, Al, for those new to LEC, please give us the quick overview. What is it and why does it matter?
Sure, Richard. This is actually a 26th Louisiana Energy Conference, and what we try to do is every year host an independent event that brings together senior management from not just public companies, but also private energy companies, as well as energy investment and advisory firms to discuss what's going on in the industry today. We're not tied to one brokerage firm or advisory firm, so we attract quite a range of speakers, and we're all panels with no company presentations, just in-depth discussions.
Makes the 2026 conference especially timely for the energy sector as we sit now, Al.
Well, obviously, the conflict in the Middle East is getting a lot of attention literally every day, all day, and is definitely having an impact on energy supply and commodity prices. So we think this is going to be an excellent time to hear from our wide range of speakers what they're seeing is happening with their own businesses and what are they expecting going forward, because a lot of boards are trying to figure out what do we do now once we're having to deal with what's going to happen with oil prices and commodity supply.
This year's agenda covers a lot of ground. What are the biggest themes you're building around, Al?
What we try to do is each day has a specific focus. So our first half day covers the Gulf of America and obviously offshore E&P and oil services. The second day is for onshore U.S. and international E&P and oil services. And then the third day we call future energy, which this year is going to cover LNG, carbon capture, infrastructure, and power generation. So we try to keep our traditional panels, but we always like to add in what's new and current, particularly like this year for power.
Now turn the podcast over to Jeff Robertson to continue with the questions.
Al, I think when I attended the inaugural conference 26 years ago, it was primarily just E&P and oilfield services with a Louisiana focus. You talked about some of the different sectors that are coming this year. I think it includes LNG, power, AI data centers, and other new technologies. Why is that breadth important?
Well, what we try to do is we want to get as large an audience at the event that we can, not meaning size-wise, but broad-wise, from the standpoint that having a lot of different sectors of the industry to come together and talk about what's important. And we found that all of our attendees, whether they're investment professionals or industry people, they like hearing what these senior executives have to say. So we think that this year in particular, like LNG is obviously really an important part of not just for the US, but for Europe. And also all of the information that you're hearing about data centers and providing power to them is a very relevant topic. So that's why we try to keep this pretty broad, and we found that people really like that.
As a sell-side analyst, I always found it pretty useful to come in here that not only meet with management teams, but get a cross-section of the industry. Other than sell-side analysts, who do you anticipate will be in the room at this year's conference?
Sure, and this is, we've been doing this pretty consistently, but we love sell-side and buy-side analysts and portfolio managers, but we get a strong contingent of private equity investors, we get private wealth advisors, and we get quite a good selection of energy industry advisors, as well as bankers and alternative capital providers. So it's quite a range for people to hear from all these different facets, from banking to investment theories and private equity.
I think you were one of the first conferences that moved to an all-panel format. Obviously, there's a diversity of panels. How important are the individual investor engagement opportunities and networking opportunities at the conference?
Sure. What we've seen is that because we have such really good panelists, and keep in mind we have like 3 to 4 panelists at least, and it's all senior executives. So we find that our attendees really like being in those sessions. So we'll have 150, 200 people in the audience each session. But we do facilitate one-on-ones. So whenever the senior managements from these companies are available and investment professionals are interested, we do facilitate meetings with those people. And don't forget, we are a networking event. And this year we've got 3 evening events that provide an open access for everyone to see the people at the conference. And we also have an app that we have with the conference, which anyone that registers gets a chance to see everybody that's at the conference. We don't keep that a secret like so many companies, conferences do. And that way, if you see somebody you want to try to meet, you can message them through the app, even if you don't get a one-on-one with them.
Water Tower's been a sponsor of the conference for the last several years and is proud to be a sponsor again of the 2026 edition. Al, can you talk about the other industry groups and people that are sponsors of the conference?
Sure. Yeah, we're really proud of the growing list of sponsors that we've been attracting. We hope that kind of validates the value they see in our event. So this year we have well over 40 different sponsors, and that includes brokerage firms, large banks, big four accounting firms, energy advisory firms, and even some of our oil services and E&P companies who see the value of the conference are helping to sponsor this event so that we can put on a really nice event that everybody will enjoy and get something out of.
Al, if someone's trying to decide whether to attend the LEC, you talked about it being an independent conference earlier. What do you think really sets it apart from other energy conferences that people have to choose from?
Sure, and you mentioned, because we went to all panels in 2012. So we've been doing this for now 14 years, and it's much easier for me to get people on panels than it was when we first started doing that. So I would say that, those highly topical, in-depth discussions with over 30 sessions over 2.5 days and the access to senior management is what really makes our conference set apart from others. And keep in mind, this is all free for investment professionals, and there's no obligation like when the buy side attends a brokerage firm conference where they have to somehow pay them back through directed trades or anything else like that.
And just to bring us to a close, two things. One, Al, what's your message to companies and industry participants who are considering coming down to New Orleans in May? And then secondly, can you tell us where they can find more information about the conference?
Sure. Yes. New Orleans is thriving right now. We're actually right as we speak, right in the middle of Jazz Fest. So I'm very pleased to say that our city is safer now than it's been in many years. So people shouldn't be concerned about things that may have happened in the past because we have gotten things in much better shape here. And we are at the Four Seasons Hotel, which is at the foot of the Mississippi River. And we've got some special events actually happening the week of our conference on the river as part of Sail 250. And so we have these great evening events that are taking place so people can get a good taste of New Orleans and our hospitality. But everything is available through our website, which is www.louisianaenergyconference.com.
Thanks, Al. I know from my perspective as a sell side analyst, I always found the Louisiana Energy Conference a good use of time. So I want to thank you. And Tim, I'll turn it back over to you.
Thanks, Jeff, and thank you, gentlemen, for joining me today. And we invite all listeners to attend the Louisiana Energy Conference being held at the Four Seasons Hotel in New Orleans on May 26 to 28. And Al, similar to last year, I look forward to bringing you back on post-conference to discuss some of the 30,000-foot takeaways.
Thanks, Tim, and thanks to the whole team there, Water Tower. We value our relationship and appreciate you helping us to get the word out.
Thank you for listening, and don't forget to subscribe, as well as visiting www.watertowerresearch.com to stay up to speed on the company's small cap written research reports, podcasts, fireside chats, industry-specific symposiums, and conference schedules. We will see you next time for another edition of the WTR Small Cap Spotlight podcast. Finally, a special thanks to the producer and editor of the podcast, Krista Fitzpatrick.